I'm Kimberly C. As I travel throughout each state, I realize that death is just a moment. It is how we live until that moment that matters. Finding connection with friends, family, and complete strangers. Journey with me. This is the Live Well, Die Well Tour. Hi, this is Kimberly Paul with Death by Design podcast, and I have to admit, I don't normally talk about me and what I'm up to, but I have to today because it will benefit the field that I love, and that's hospice and palliative care organizations. So I'm here with my colleague, Tony Smith from PartnerPlus Media, and we're going to chat a little bit about what we're doing, Death by Design and PartnerPlus together. Welcome to the show, Tony.
Thank you, Kimberly. It's good to be here.
Well, as you can tell, listeners, he is not from America. He is from the island across the sea, Great Britain, and which, you know, us in hospice, we tend to think of England as the home of Dame Cicely Saunders. So thanks for joining us today. And I'm really, really excited about how you and I are working together to bring more awareness to the hospice education, families and patients, and also just community education. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to have this joint conversation with me, Tony.
Absolutely, no problem at all.
Tell me a little bit about PartnerPlus Media. How did y'all come about? I know I've met Darren several times, the head honcho over there, but I wanted just to, how did you guys evolve and even think about entering this end of life field?
Sure, good question. Well, PartnerPlus, as you rightly say, and my accent does suggest that we are a British company. We expanded into the States about 4.5 years ago now. Our US offices are now based in Durham, North Carolina, a wonderful city.
Hey, I know where that is.
I thought you might. Our UK office, headquarters is still based in Manchester in England. But initially, we came over to the States and we launched a product in the States for funeral homes. And that product is a very high quality, customized funeral planning guide for funeral homes to help the families that they serve. 4.5 years on from our launch in the States, we're now dealing with around 1,500 funeral homes in America. We must be doing something right.
Well, yes, I would say so. I would say so.
But to answer your question, just over 2 years ago, we started working with hospice. Hospice is very close to the heart of our president and really as a company as a whole. We never cease to be amazed and inspired by the work that the hospices that we work with and raise funds for do. I've got to say it's really gratifying to know that we play a role now, however small that may be, in the fantastic work that they do. And 2 years on from our launch with hospice, we're now supplying a combination really of customized admission packets and educational community resources to hospice right across America. Best of all, every single hospice that we work with will now happily recommend our services to other hospice.
After my Live Well, Die Well tour ended because of COVID, I got to see 45 states and meet so many hospice organizations that are doing fabulous work throughout America. But the resources are thin, and they want to put all this attention and money into patient care. And so when I heard about you guys and we had a couple of conversations, I remember saying, Tony, no offense, but I have to see your product before I do anything else, because if I don't believe in it, then I can't even move forward. But when you shipped me over some of the products that you've done for other hospices, I was blown away. Now, of course, I have the designer background and I'm always keen to the eye when it comes to, of course, death by design. It's just really intriguing to me. So when I got the products, I was really, really moved by how you can supply even small, medium-sized hospice organizations who don't have a well-developed outreach program, but still can have this enhanced marketing communication tool. And I do agree. A couple of the ones that I saw were being used as admission packets, which I totally fell in love with, because back when I worked with hospice, we had these folders that we would stick papers in, and then we would go to the family's house and the papers would be spread all over the house. You can't ever find them. And so what I love about your admission packets is that it supplies the paperwork for the hospice staff, like carbon copied right in this book. You can take it out, take it back to the office, put it in the medical record, but also it leaves the family with this wealth of information about who's taking care of them and little tips. I was absolutely blown away, and I commend you a lot. And after I talked to Darren, the president, I had to be a part of this, because one of my goals is, how do I help hospices expand their education, whether it's to patients and families, whether it's to referral sources, whether it's to, for advanced care planning, or whether it's even to the community in itself. And I was blown away to hear our president that I'm now collaborating with, Darren, touched by hospice, still contributes to hospice. And this is his way to continue his love of getting people to know hospice way before they even need it. But I was blown away by the product, by the way.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I will even add a couple of links for you guys who are listening, so you can actually see some of these really extraordinary samples that we are collaborating on. But we've now been working together for about 2 months. Because of COVID, you had to pull all your people back from London or England, and you guys were just looking for someone to connect you guys with hospice, and I just happened upon you guys.
Yes, and I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Well, we have similar missions. And that's where I'm very careful to partner with anyone, because it must do a few things for me. It must help hospices educate about their services, but also just general community education about end-of-life services. And when I saw your product and I saw what you were doing, and then some of your clients already I had met during my Live Well, Die Well tour, Care First, there in New York, and a couple of other you guys spread across the United States. And I was like, this is nonsensical for me not to consider helping you guys out, because it's a win-win solution for everybody involved. And especially after hearing your passion and Linda's passion and Darren's passion, it just seemed like a no-brainer to me. And it was a win-win solution for both PartnerPlus, Death by Design, and the hospices we're beginning to work with, like Wren Hospice, as well as in Endless Journey Hospice out in Omaha, Nebraska. So yeah, it's just been an overwhelming kind of partnership so far, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. But you know what? How did you? Why me? I mean, I'm sure you have hundreds and hundreds of applicants that you probably got. I have this unique background. So what were you seeing in me that made you want to partner with Death by Design?
Well, I think first of all, we probably had more like 1,000 applicants.
Right.
So yeah, no. Where do I start?
That's what my parents say all the time.
Kimberly, apart from your authenticity that came across, your infectious enthusiasm, and your very obvious and genuine passion for hospice that we share. Very early on, the thing that stood out to me was that you really believed in our products. Now, you wanted to get to know our products before you could believe in it, and that stood out. But you really shared our vision of how our product can be a force for good for hospice. You got it from every perspective, and we're every bit as passionate about our products and the need for our products, whether that be on behalf of the hospice, the patients, or the families that hospice serves so well as we are. What really impressed me, though, and I think this may have come across in this conversation, in an instant, you could articulate our message better than we could. and
oh, that's,
and that's
amazing.
Huge. That is huge for us, and we're delighted to have you on board.
Oh man, it has been a partnership that is, guys, it's like you dream of these partnerships out there that you want to collaborate with people and no one sees that vision. But when Tony and Linda and I got together, it was sort of like, wow, are there any negatives? And what is the greatest thing about our collaboration together is that it's going to benefit hospices in so many ways. And first of all, I know hospices are looking at how can they take expenses off the bottom line? How can they continue to provide really good resources for those who are scared about, hospice or a chronic illness? And this is what this book does. But how does it do that, Tony? Because, it's when you come by and you're like, hey, we want to provide you this really stellar resource book, and you can use it for your admission packet, or you could use it to educate your community about advanced care planning. You really mold the product to what the hospice objectives and goals are. But then it doesn't cost the hospice anything.
Anything at all. And that's
how do we do that? I know how we do that, but help my listeners.
Sure.
Because we've talked about this several times and I've worked in hospice for 17 years. When someone says free, I kind of sit back like, oh, really? Yeah, tell me more. So I'm always like, what's the catch here? But there is no catch.
No, there isn't, and you wouldn't be the first person to think that. It's really straightforward. What I should really impress is that every book that we produce is 100% customized for that individual hospice. But to answer your question, there's no cost whatsoever at any stage ever. What we do is we bring on board businesses in the local community who can benefit their business, but also can benefit the readers of the publications with the services that they offer. And we bring them on board with sponsorship opportunities where they can appear in the publication. What we'll never do is we'll never feature a business in the publication that isn't a very good fit for the needs of families and the needs of the readers of the publication. But it's the revenue that we receive from these businesses, the contribution to the publication, that means we can supply the entire publication, the copywriting, the design, the print, absolutely everything at no cost.
Yeah, and I'm starting to call them endorsers that underwrite this project. Yeah. But in hospice organizations, you must listen very carefully, because my years are in marketing hospice. I do not like it to be sort of a used car salesman thing in a publication that is really about education. But think about it. You guys have businesses that you work with every day that sometimes are not donors to your organization, but would love an opportunity to further their business because you're already collaborating them. For example, I was working with a hospice recently, and they wanted to focus a little bit on advanced care planning, and they work really close with an estate planning lawyer. That's who they recommend. They already have that relationship. So they're bringing him on board as one of the endorsers. They're endorsing him, that he's endorsing them, and they already are utilizing him in every other way anyway. So it's just a natural fit. Now, I've talked to Tony about how we can make these supporters, endorsers, really sort of say, hey, I support this hospice because my mom was served by them. And we want it to be sensitive. We want it to be apparent that, but also give a lot of other resources beyond just the hospice organization, because hospices don't do estate planning. They don't do funeral services. They don't do pharmacy services. But these are resources that might be a need that patients and family utilizes. And this is a way for us to build community relations. And that's why I love this product, because everyone wins, especially the hospice organization, but most importantly, the patients and families, because now you're going to be recommending people you already work with in the community, and you recognize them as a resource beyond you guys to your families and patients and community members, which is brilliant. It's just a brilliant concept. So what's really important is that not only do we help this hospice work out who they partner with when it comes to endorsers, but we actually send someone to their community to really do all of this legwork and paperwork too, which is key, because we know that hospice staff are stretched. But tell me, how does that work?
So when we actually have a hospice come on board, the first thing that we do is we will arrange a meet and greet with our representative, or should I say for our representative, to meet with the hospice. So really the representative can get a really good understanding, an overall view and a feel for who they are working with. I think that's really important, but also that representative, when we are bringing the businesses on board, they can go out and meet face to face with those businesses and understand the businesses also, and understand the fit with the hospice, which is really important. And this is important because ultimately we actually, because we're bringing the businesses on board, we actually give over to the hospice the power to veto any business. So they can always rest assured that there's never going to be a business that's not appropriate in the book. But if we're doing our job correctly, and this is why we do everything face to face, and we have a procedure that works, they will never have to use that veto.
That's what I love, is that, in this day of COVID and digital and Zoom and all of this other things, I still feel face-to-face is the most important thing in hospice care. And you, even as a business model, believe the same philosophy. Not only does PartnerPlus and Death by Design want to be help your organization, we want to become like a regular part of your business. We don't want to come in, provide you a product and leave. We want to, how can we further help you? How can we continue a relationship with you? And I know that Darren is really interested in establishing relationships with every client and every hospice organization that we work with, which I think is sort of unique. You don't find that with a lot of businesses these days.
I think that's probably one of the reasons that we stand out from other companies. It is that ethos that Darren brings to the company, and is followed right throughout the company. And yes, we are in constant, without being intrusive, but constant communication with our hospice. It's not a here today, we're gone tomorrow. as you rightly say, we want to work with the hospice and develop this relationship. And that's what we do, not only with the hospice that we work with, but with all those 1,500 funeral homes that we work with. We develop this relationship. And that's, yes, we supply a product that's wonderful, and the quality is first class. But
absolutely first class.
The testimonials that we have, and we have lots of them, all mention the procedure, the how we actually put the product together, how we interact with the local businesses, how we interact with them as a hospice or a funeral home, and that's what we're complimented on, as opposed to just supplying a product that's high quality and free of cost. It's so much more than that.
I totally agree. Now, for some of you might think we're really just focusing on hospice organization, and that's where my love comes from. Yet, we're starting to look at death doulas and helping them out. We're starting to look at advanced care planning programs and seeing if this product would fit with their model. And so if you're sitting out there thinking, why not my business? Then you need to get in contact with us to see if this model might work for you. What we're trying to do is really radically change and enhance marketing materials, education materials when it comes to aging and end of life in America. We want to radically change how people face end of life by just educating them about options. So if you're not a hospice, you never know what we could work out. And I think Tony and Darren were all about having an open conversation with how this product can further advance the education side of the field that I love called end of life. Tony, but talk to me a little bit about some of the ways hospices or the funeral homes are using these publications, which I end up calling resource books, education books.
Sure, they do tend to be a multi-use product. So, hospice certainly are using the brochures, the books as an admissions package, but it's so much more than that. They're also using this as an educational resource because, again, particularly with hospice, people maybe have preconceived ideas or maybe don't hospice. So this is an educational tool for them. This is also something that hospice and funeral homes will use and will be useful to their marketing team. This is a marketing tool for the hospice. Too. We've not mentioned it, but we do supply a digital format of the book, the flip book. And that's great because what we find is that families can share this book to families that maybe live out of state, maybe live out of country, but they can all be involved and all have access to the same publication.
I think that's exactly, a lot of people are going digital. You can add this to your website. You can shoot this email if you're admitting a mom or a dad, but the children live in another state. It's a way for them to know you very easily through email. So the digital aspect of this product is really a key. Plus, there's a lot of opportunities with social media to use this educational tool as well. So this is the thing. If you're interested in learning more, this is what I'm doing these days, is really connecting a really awesome product with really hardworking hospices, advanced care planning programs, death doula associations, just to help further education. And you can always reach out to me at Kimberly@deathbydesign.com or go to my website at deathbydesign.com and contact me if you want more information. And Tony and I will set up a Zoom call. We'll walk you through a little bit more detailed aspect of what the project can, entirely contains and the process that it takes to get this. But Tony, from conception of, yes, I want to do this, to actually having these resource books in the hand of hospices, how long is that process?
So from the points that we send our representative in to the town or the city and have that meet and greet that I mentioned, from that point to delivery of the first batch of books or publications, typically 12 to 16 weeks. And that's, that may seem quick for some people, that may seem a long time to others, but these guides are really comprehensive. Obviously we have to proof all of the businesses, and we proof at every stage the hospice, and we take our time to get this right. But with the production line that we have in place, and with the, quite frankly, years of experience, we can turn this round in that 12 to 16 week time frame.
Well, also, it gives a little flex room for hospices who are in the minutia of daily operations. It gives them a little bit more flexibility to be like, it's not tomorrow that we need certain things, but we work with them and help them with their content within these books. And I'm going to be there every step of the way, because I love to really be creative when it comes to language, around end of life, around hospices. And it really is language that can turn people off or turn people on to products. So I'm there right beside you, walking through this process with you. And Tony, I really cannot tell you, the last couple of months working with you guys and seeing this product really change hospice organizations and what they're utilizing in the community makes me so excited. And I just love working with you guys. I really do. You guys are so professional. You're so kind, and you have the heart and the passion that I wish everybody had when it comes to end of life and really a hard subject. You make it a little bit easier by just the product you give them. So thank you so much.
No, and if as you say we can do that, it's really gratifying to know. But Kimberly, you're helping us do that.
We're a team.
We share the same language, but sometimes that's difficult in another country. And you're helping us do that, and we really appreciate it.
Well, I tell you, it's a team effort 100% of the way. Again, if your hospice is in need of a really top-notch advanced care planning booklet or an admission packet, I'm happy to even drop one of these in the mail to you so you can hold it and feel it. When you see this admission packet that they've put together, it will blow you away. And there's just... after 17 years working in an organization and we didn't have something like this, I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, where have I been for the last 2 decades? And why didn't we have something like this? So it's an amazing thing that doesn't cost hospices bottom line anything. We work with community members. We enhance your donor base. And that's what we're about, is bridging the gap between hospice community, hospice and patients and family, hospice and businesses. And it is a win-win. And for those of you that do know me, I don't endorse things lightly. But when I do, I go in with both feet. And I totally believe in this product. I totally believe in Darren and Tony and PartnerPlus, and I'm just absolutely thrilled to be a part of this team. And get in touch with us, and let's further this tool in all of these counties, because I think we have a lot of counties and states in the United States. So, I mean, there's plenty of hospices out there. And the great thing it's custom made. It has your brand on it. It looks just like you. So get in touch with us. And Tony, thank you for taking your time out. I know we're 5 hours difference, but I really appreciate it. I thought it was really important for people to hear you and your passion behind this product as well. And I continue to get up every day really excited about working with you guys and really expanding hospice's education pieces in their own community. So, Tony, thanks for bringing me aboard.
I really appreciate it, Kimberly. Kimberly, we the message that we can be a force for good, as I originally said, with hospice is so important to us. And you're helping us deliver that message.
Well, I feel honored.
I'm honored that you're working with us. And thank you.
Well, we're here. We're trying to change how people get information and education that might really help them when it comes to a really hard thing like hospice or losing a loved one. So contact me and work with us. We're interested in chatting more about it and furthering the hospice message, because Death by Design believes in the hospice philosophy, but I'm telling you, so does PartnerPlus Media. And I just think it is a great fit for us to be collaborating on what really comes down to a lot of benefits for hospice organizations. So, Tony, thanks for joining me on Death by Design podcast, and call us if you're interested. We'd love to chat with you. And you have a great day, and let's continue. I love that word, like the force of good force of changing how people face end of life. So, Tony, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. And remember, you're the designer. This podcast is produced by Jason Andre with 7 Season Films. If you're interested in telling your story via podcast,